Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome to Inside Hilltopper Athletics. This is our basketball edition, taped here on Tuesday morning. As always, we're joined by head coach Kyle Cooper of our women's team. Coach, thanks for joining us. And a game against two of the powers to be in the Mountain East Conference. Went on the road to West Virginia State, then hosted Charleston here on Saturday. So let's go back to the state game and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I kind of look at it this way. In the first half, the system kind of prevailed, and yet we're still only down 2 possessions. We're down 6 points at the half, despite them taking whatever it was, 20-plus more shots due to second chance opportunities. And when you're playing a team like State that plays that unique style of play and they've got their boxes that they want to check as far as their system goes, you can't allow them to check those boxes. So in turn, we did in the first half, yet find ourselves, because when we were able to rebound the basketball, get out, break their pressure, we were getting great looks, shooting the basketball really well. It created opportunities for us to still be in the game and stay connected. And then you saw in the second half, we stopped giving them those chances. Then they had to beat us with execution on a more consistent basis, and to their credit, and having a veteran roster obviously helps Coach Marshall in those situations. They were able to capitalize on some mismatches and some executional stuff called from the sideline. So to their credit, they were able to hold on despite us staying connected and get that win. So hate to take a loss on the road. Thought there was some good to take from it, but obviously hate dropping that one.
Well, one of the things, and Dawn and I talk about this when we're doing games against the States and the Glenvilles of the world, everyone knows about their pressure and how many turnovers they force. And if you look at the NCAA stats, they're going to be up 1, 2, or 3 pretty much every year in turnovers forced. Everybody knows that they're high-scoring teams.
Yep.
They're going to be annually among the nation's leaders in scoring. What most people don't realize is how much that system is predicated on offensive rebounding.
No doubt.
And that's probably what you were referencing.
Yes.
They're checking boxes, and boy, they check the big box on the offensive glass.
And with them, it's not just about, we call it overloading the box, if you will, staying in that paint area, that below the logo area, getting all of our bodies to there and not cheating to get in transition offense. You got to hit against them. They're trained to actually box you out offensively. And if that's part of your system, you've got to be really good. And we were not good enough, consistently enough in the first half of that game. But again, to our credit, I thought we adjusted and did a much better job in the second.
You did shoot the ball extremely well in that game.
Yep.
What generated those looks? 15 threes, is that correct, in the game?
I think so. We averaged whatever it was, 14, 15, something like that last week. So pretty impressive there. I think it was just you saw the growth from the first time we played them to now. So you flash back to whatever it was, the second weekend of December, and you're looking at a team that we really struggled taking care of the basketball. You saw a ton of growth in so many players. So now it's not just a couple of our veterans that are used to going against the system, but you see growth in players like Bailey Bexton and so on that are able to impact the game, because once we stay taking care of the basketball, we love playing with advantages, and State will allow you to do that if you can get outside that pressure. And in our credit, we took advantage of it when we had the opportunities.
So we lose a tough one at State. We return home to play against a Charleston team that got out of the gates a little slowly this year, but they've managed to kind of fight their way back into this conference
100%.
race again. So tell us about the Charleston game, including the opening run.
Yeah, I think that, to your credit, like referencing that, they did struggle early, but this is a team that's won like 90% of their games in the last month and a half, 2 months. So to no shock, they're playing really well. Their new roster look has figured it out and bought into the system, which, hats off to them. But we started off the game about as good as you could, right? We're taking care of the basketball. We're getting stops defensively. We're collectively rebounding. We're getting out with pace. And for 4 or 5 minutes of the game, everything is going perfectly right. So really was excited to see the start we got out to against a team like that that's playing well. And I think, you see what we're capable of doing. It's doing it consistently, because Charleston did respond. Now, I will say this, when you look at the first half, I'm looking at a box score and looking back on the game, and it's deceiving. We shot the ball so well. Our sharing the basketball was incredible. Our defense on first shot defense was so good. But as excited as you already sitting there in the game, tied 37-37, I think it was, I'm also knowing we should probably be at this point up 3 or 4 possessions if we just find a way to get a couple defensive rebounds and find a way not to throw away a couple possessions in the second quarter. So as much as you're right there and you're feeling good, you also got to be realistic in the fact that you gave a couple opportunities away where you could be up.
Well, Coach, before we take a look ahead at what's coming up on the court this week, I want to take one more look back at Saturday with Charleston and something that kind of happened off the court.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but your program had designated the Charleston game as your annual cancer awareness game in honor of a gentleman named Bill Bauer.
Yep.
And so if you would, just tell us a little bit about Bill's story and how you and your program got involved with, I think, what we term the Bauer Power Crew.
Yeah, so obviously, great opportunity for us to step back and have some perspective in life on Saturday, and couldn't have perspective for a more worthy individual and family. So, Bill Bauer came into our life when Molly Bauer came for her grad transfer year with us, and their family has stayed very close with us, not just Molly, but their entire crew. And he's in a tough battle right now with pancreatic cancer. So one of the things that Coach Seth suggested, and I love that she did this and was very grateful for this one in particular, we started to align with things that hit home, not just having a cancer awareness game. And this one obviously hits home tremendously because Molly's impact on our program, while short, is going to last forever, and her family's the same way. They're some of our biggest fans. So being able to show support, put that on for them, and make an impact that not only raises awareness but shows love and support for a family that's so dear to us was everything. It was everything. So, playing for them and in honor of them was huge. And I thought the way everything was put together, especially, what Coach Seth was able to spearhead, and then seeing the level of support and love for their family is exactly what you hope for. So definitely a lot of perspective there. Very grateful for the Bauer Power family and being a part of that.
Okay, now let's look ahead to this week on the court. You have, we have D&E coming in here Wednesday night, and then we're on the road at Wesleyan on Saturday.
Yep.
So you've actually played these teams before. This is our second lap around the conference. Beat both of them the first time, so you're going for season sweeps. But talk about the challenges that these two teams in particular present.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is things that you've got to be really engaged with. Is like they are teams that play a little different. While D&E will look to push tempo a little bit more than Wesleyan wants to take all of the air out of the ball and make it a grinded out kind of half-court game. With Davis and Elkins, they want to grind you out, but they'll still take opportunities if you give it to them. So you've got to be good Wednesday night, tomorrow night, not giving them the easy ones. But then you've got to play for whole plays because they don't do a lot of different things systematically, but any of them can power post you at a given time. Any of them can cut. So it's one of those kind of programs and styles where you better stay aware of not just their leading scorers, but you better stay aware of everybody, because all of a sudden you'll find yourself with a guard that has good size power posting Bailey Smith or Bailey Bexton. We don't want those situations. And then they attack the glass really, really hard, so we've got to be good defensive rebounding. And then similar concepts with Wesleyan, they want to grind you out and so on. Got to be aware that they've got some players that are playing at a high level, shooting the basketball really well. But we've got to be really good at making sure that they don't just set us to death in a half court. And I thought at times they were able to do that here the first time, so we've got to be better about that. But an opportunity for our program, I think, this week, that if we'll continue to stack the things that we're getting better in and show the consistency of it, I think we can have a really good week here. But we got to show them we're going to do it.
Okay, and one last question for you. And you may not even be aware of this, but you're approaching a significant milestone in your career, and your next win will be your 100th win as a head coach. And just looking back at your 7 seasons as a head coach and all the groundwork you laid before that, dating back to your days as a student manager at WVU, talk a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but I think ultimately the first thing I'm grateful for is the opportunity that he gave me. So, that means a lot. But then beyond that, it's just being so grateful for all the people I've worked with and the players that I've coached, that could even be potentially a thing. So like you dream of it, you referenced as a student manager. I can still remember Coach Carey lecturing me on it, like, you're not a head coach yet, do what you're told, kind of thing. And there's a lot of stories of that, all the way up to Coach Allen saying you're going to be a head coach because you've owned this program the way a head coach has, kind of thing, in his own way. But it's ultimately about those relationships and ultimately the players. Like, that's also, like, when that happens, and I hope that it happens tomorrow night, it'll be for me about thinking about all those players.
Well, all right, Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Let's get those sweeps this week.
Yes.
Continue to shoot the basketball well from deep, and when we talk to you next week, let's hope it's something fun to talk about.
Absolutely.
That wraps up the first section here of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. We'll be back with head coach Ben Hallett.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Kyle Cooper. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Allum.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics. We are now joined by head men's coach Ben Hallett. Coach, we had you on last week knowing that it was going to be a challenging week going on the road to a red-hot West Virginia State team and then hosting Conference Power Charleston, who you've pretty much shared the league lead with most of the season. So let's, not that you want to revisit it, but let's go back to West Virginia State.
Yeah, just an odd start and got down. I think it was 17-4 at one point, and then, after the 17-4 deficit, I thought we were just climbing back the entire game. We were just trying to get back in the game, and the score floated around from a deficit of 8 to 10 to 11 points, and there at the end of the game, we finally got it to within striking distance, and just didn't make enough plays there late to get a win. But it all goes back to the start. We got down too large at the start of the game, and it was weird because I thought leading up to the game I felt really good about where we were. Shoot around, we were bouncing around and had a bunch of energy, and we were shooting well with shoot around, and team meal we were dialed in, focused, and just an odd game, an odd start. But again, we lost to a really good team who's good on their home floor, and that happens sometimes.
Well, I believe we started the game 0 for 9 maybe from the three-point line, so it's hard to kind of rebound from that, pun intended. A team with Anthony Pittman, who's not only one of the better players in our conference, but arguably one of the better players in our region. And I think you are right. It's just difficult. You dig a hole, and of course I'm watching the game live. I'm there actually standing on the court, and I think it was the same old that teams talk about all the time. You have to put so much energy and focus in to making up of that deficit. It's almost like you just don't have enough to get over the top, would you?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, we were scoring at a high rate there. And, the latter part of the second half, we had a hard time getting stops, and they're one of those teams that they hunt mismatches. And I think they got the mismatches they want, and they were able to exploit those mismatches, and we just had a hard time getting stops there. But hopefully we learn from that. We've really dialed in on that in practice, and hopefully if it happens again, we'll be ready for it.
Well, one of the things that the battle happened, it wasn't one of these quick, we run off 11 straight points. I mean, this was an effort to get back, and even being down, I think it was 15 once in the second half, we actually had the ball with a chance to tie late. So give your kids credit that they did hang in and somehow made that a game. So we end up on the short end down there. We have to come back, and now we're hosting a Charleston team that has been good the whole season. They have really, really had a great season, and they did get us down there. So thoughts on the Charleston game?
Obviously, they're very well coached, and I think this year, especially from a defensive perspective, I think they're really good. This is one of the better defensive teams that I've seen, not only in our conference but in the region. Over the past 7 years, and just made it really tough for us to get clean looks. And obviously, again, didn't shoot it well from the perimeter. I don't remember the exact numbers, but not good. But just had a hard time getting quality shots. And then they're so well schooled offensively. They're so efficient offensively. We still had a chance to win the game at the end of the game, and just couldn't get stops. Late in the game. That's 2 games in a row where defensively we're not digging in and getting stops, and it's frustrating. But the good part about it is there's still a lot of basketball left to be played, as you and I have spoken about, and still a lot left to play for. And with this team, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting, and nobody feels sorry for us. Teams actually like when we lose. Everyone in the country likes when we lose, and that's fine. But again, I don't feel sorry for our team. Our guys don't feel sorry for themselves. We're just going to get back after it, and again, we get to play a game tomorrow, which is the only thing we can ask for.
Right. Well, Dawn, before you start grilling Coach, I want to share a little text exchange that Coach Hallett and I had last night, and I think you would agree with this. Coach had said, it's frustrating because at West Liberty we don't like to lose. But I was trying to reassure him that's exactly why playing at West Liberty is so special, that for us, the standards are almost incredibly high. And when you lose, it is going to hurt worse because of the standards that Coach Hallett has contributed to making here at West Liberty. So we're actually patting you on the back here, Coach, because I would rather have the standards too high and we're disappointed than to not have those standards. Mm-hmm. And that is a compliment to you and your program, that it's pretty darn special to be part of all this. So go ahead, you can grill him now.
All right. And just looking back at last week, and never a good time for an injury, but of course, junior starter Ben Sarson, that's double-figure scorer, second leading rebounder of the team, goes down kind of early in the state game, wasn't available for Charleston. Now, as a coaching staff, what does that do? In other words, what do you have to do on the sidelines? You're revamping lineups, you're changing rotations, all on the fly while the live bullets are flying.
Yeah, and that's part of sports, and that's something that it's going to happen. We've been really lucky in the past that we haven't really dealt with the injury bug as other teams have had, but it goes back to recruiting. Let's just recruit a whole bunch of good players, and obviously if some guy gets hurt on our team, we feel very fortunate to have guys that we can plug in there. But Ben Sarson gives us some size that maybe we were lacking the last game, that you can see they were hunting mismatches as well, and he does have the ability to knock down shots. He's an incredible 3-point shooter, and obviously he's a high-level rebounder. So we do miss him, and obviously he's going to be back here relatively soon. He's working, day in, day out, getting rehab, and but again, we're going to play with or without him, and that's not an excuse for us to lose games.
Okay. Again, hosting D&E Wednesday, go to Wesleyan on Saturday. Yeah, it was a little bit of a tough week last week, but how do you turn the page as a program and just refocus back to business and turn things around for this week?
Yeah, I think for us, and we talked about this as a team, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to get better at what we do, and that's really important. We've got such a unique system here and a unique style of play that we just got to get better at what we do and really dial into the details of things and go back and watch film and try to, just the minor details and the fundamentals and the stuff that you go over at the beginning of the year. We're going to go over those things again and really fine-tune some details. And, I think our guys are ready to play tomorrow. I think, we had a good day yesterday. We watched film and corrected some things, and we're going to have a good day today. And we're going to hopefully bring a lot of energy, and whoever steps on the court they need to bring a lot of energy and maximize their effort, because it's going to be needed, because D&E is not a team that we can take lightly. You know, we played very well down at their place the last time we played them, came out with a win, but they've got a guard on their team that requires a lot of attention, and I think he's one of the better guards in our league, and I think Coach Mondragon has done a really good job, obviously Coach of the Year last year in our league, and got a lot of guys surrounding that guard, so they've got our full attention, and that's the only game on our mind right now is Davis and Elkins.
Well, and just to build on what Coach was talking about with the incredible success that we've had over the years here at West Liberty, and that you've had in particular, the Charleston game from a spectator standpoint just couldn't have been better. I mean, multiple ties, multiple lead changes. I think at one point we had like 9 ties and 13 lead changes just in the second half alone. It just kept going back and forth. In the end, we took a home loss. Doesn't happen very often. Snapped, and I went back and added up 31 game home winning streak. One of the longest winning streaks in the country. The fans were in it from the start. Great atmosphere, and you've referenced it before, but a 31 game home winning streak doesn't happen in a vacuum. And how important do you think the fans are? You know, how much of a role do they play when you start stringing those home wins together?
Yeah, very pivotal, and I've said this on this show, and I've said it to other media outlets. Like, it's just, we've got really good fans, and the cool part about our fans is they expect to win. Like, they want to win here, and it's fun to have that type of fan base, and puts a little bit of pressure on me as the head coach. But we've got great fans, and I thought the energy they brought on Saturday was contagious, and I thought our guys really fed off that, and we certainly appreciate all of our fans. We always tease, like, we've got a little bit like of an older fan base, but they're crazy. They're crazy. Like, it's kind of fun to play in front of those type of fans. But super appreciative of them, and don't give up on us. We're going to continue to fight and play hard, and we look forward to seeing those guys tomorrow.
All right. Good.
Well, let me just share one story as we end this episode. There was a home game last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, and we were up 40 points. And the other team had made a run kind of in the last 10 minutes, and they cut it to like 26 with a minute left. And I heard one of our longtime fans actually getting mad and yelling, "Come on, this is ridiculous." And I'm thinking, wow, have we spoiled people that we're mad when we're only up 26. So the guy's heart was in the right place, but that kind of references that. But, well, all right, well, good luck. This is a very good D&E team coming to our place, so you've got your work cut out for you. Next week I'm going to Mexico, so Don will be doing the show by himself, so let's hope he has something nice to talk about. That wraps up this week's edition Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Ben Hallett. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Hi, my name is Oceana Smith. I'm a community arts major at West Liberty University, and today I'm going to show you what it's like to be in my program. So starting off today, we're going to go into my CEP practicum class.
So what I would like us to do today is the creation of a button. So if you had to create your own button reflecting your practicum experience so far, what would it say and why?
Some of the best parts of the program so far have been the friends that I made and the experiences we get to share both on and off of campus. Because it's a growing program, the community arts majors are very close-knit, as well as the entirety of the community education program. So it's great to be sharing these experiences with people that I call friends rather than just a classroom full of students. I would encourage others to consider community arts because you don't have to know what you want your future to look like at first. There is a lot of room to explore and grow in this program in order to find your perfect fit in terms of career path. It's designed to have flexibility, and the ability to be tailored to your personal interests. And the coordinating director, Dr. Miriam Roth Douglas, is an amazing educator and passionate about the success of her students. My little pin just says creativity lives everywhere. At my practicum site at the Stifle Center, I've been really pushed to develop my creativity on my own. And then I just put some cute little decorations around it just because I felt like it. Now we're heading into my community empowerment and engagement class.
We'll do a little warm-up, a brainstorm competition regarding some of the things we've worked on in our previous session. I would like to see which group is able to write down the most ideas and concepts in 90 seconds. So.
The community arts program at West Liberty is based on a lot of problem and project-based learning. Rather than standard tests, we get to apply the information we learn in class to problems and projects in the community. Our most recent project has been with Grow Ohio Valley in downtown Wheeling. Their mission is focused around food security and food sovereignty, a problem that Wheeling has been struggling with for a long time. Our job this semester is to come up with possible community projects that can go into the 17th Street building that they recently purchased and are trying to transform it into some kind of community center that will really benefit downtown Wheeling and meet the needs that the Wheeling area has. So now we're in the Arts and Ed Center to work on my scale model project. On campus, we have the Center for Arts and Education. I think it's one of the best resources that we have here at West Liberty. It comes into play a lot in the community arts program, as you can imagine. The Center for Arts and Education is a makerspace that we have here on campus where you have access to sustainable found materials and creative elements to help craft projects. It's also a great area for creatives to go and work on their passion projects. In one of my CEP classes, we currently have a group project going on. We are working on a scale model for our proposed ideas to go into the 17th Street building at Grow Ohio Valley. For our project, we hope to create a space for locals selling product to connect with graphic designers in order to design and create packaging and branding for their products. And we also want to leave room to work in internship opportunities for West Liberty's VCD program. Now we're at the Stifle Center for Fine Arts for my off-campus practicum in Wheeling. Currently, I am doing my off-campus practicum with the Stifle Fine Arts Center. It is a community art center that acts as a gallery as well as an art hub for local artists. They also offer classes and art workshops to the public, but currently they are having their holiday art show and sale. And it was a really great learning experience to be able to be involved in the setup of that. I chose this program because when I came to West Liberty, I didn't really have a clear picture of what I wanted to do, except that I love the arts and I wanted to be in a position where I could surround myself by the arts and other artists. When I finish my degree, I hope to work in some kind of community art center, a gallery, or an art museum. Ultimately somewhere that I can continue working on my craft as well. Thanks for checking out the Community Arts Program. For more information, go to our website.
Hi, I'm Jason Ake. I'm a grad student at West Liberty University, and I'm working on the Earthworm Lab. So we're attempting to study some invasive earthworms here on the campus property. We have a survey area where we go out and try and figure out how many they are, where they are, what species they are. Earthworms are really small, of course, and you don't really think about them, and you hear about them being good for gardens and all that. But these invasive earthworms live out in the woods and they eat basically everything. They live in the dirt, they eat leaves, wood, take all the nutrients out of the forest. Plants can't grow, bugs can't find food. even trees start dying because they run out of nutrients. So our end goal is just trying to get a better understanding of the species. We're using some new spatial analysis techniques. I really hope that we can include this research to write my master's thesis.